If you're over 60, please, I am begging you, stop what you're doing and listen closely. You've spent a lifetime trying to eat right, choosing fruits over processed snacks, avoiding fried food, cutting back on sugar. You've done what you thought was healthy. But what if I told you that some of the most common fruits sitting in your kitchen right now, fruits you believe are protecting your heart, may actually be slowly destroying it? This isn't fear-mongering. It's medical reality. As we age, our bodies change. What once helped your heart at 40 could now be sabotaging it at 70. These changes are subtle, silent, and deadly, and most seniors never see them coming until it's too late. As a heart doctor who spent over 30 years treating older adults, I've watched this happen too many times. Patients with good intentions, harmed by hidden truths no one warned them about. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 9 fruits that may be quietly damaging your heart and show you what to eat instead. Please, for your health, your independence, and your future, stay with me. This may be the most important video you watch this year. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Grapefruit, the silent disruptor in your liver. If you're over 60 and trying to protect your heart, grapefruit might seem like a harmless friend. Refreshing, tangy, packed with vitamin C. For decades, many seniors have reached for grapefruit in the morning, believing it's a clean, heart-healthy start to the day. But what if I told you that this seemingly innocent fruit could quietly interfere with your medications, turning your breakfast into a biochemical battleground inside your body? Let me be clear. Grapefruit is not dangerous for everyone. But if you take medications for your heart, especially statins, calcium channel blockers, or antiarrhythmics, this fruit can disrupt how your liver processes those drugs, sometimes leading to toxic levels in your bloodstream. Here's what's happening inside. Grapefruit contains compounds called furanocoumarins. These compounds inhibit an enzyme in your liver known as CYP3A4, a major pathway your body uses to break down and eliminate medications. When this enzyme is blocked, the medicine builds up in your body rather than being metabolized properly. It's like your system is trying to drain water through a clogged pipe. The pressure rises, and so does the risk. Now imagine this: 1 glass of grapefruit juice in the morning while you're also taking your simvastatin for cholesterol or your amlodipine for high blood pressure. Over time, the drug accumulates. You may not feel anything at first, but quietly, silently, your blood pressure could drop too low. Your heartbeat may become erratic, or your muscles may begin to ache and weaken from statin toxicity. You won't even suspect it's the fruit that's doing it. I'll never forget my patient, Mr. Gerald, a 74-year-old retired railroad engineer from Indiana. Gerald had done everything right since his bypass surgery. He walked every morning, took his medications religiously, and swore off red meat. But he was still experiencing dizzy spells, fatigue, and muscle cramping. When I reviewed his chart, nothing added up until I asked about his breakfast routine. With a proud smile, he said, "Doc, every morning since my heart attack, I start the day with a glass of fresh grapefruit juice. It's my cleanse." That cleanse was actually clogging his liver's ability to process medications. His statin levels were more than double what they should have been. His blood pressure medications were lingering too long. Gerald wasn't being careless. He was doing what he thought was healthy. But his good intention nearly cost him another trip to the hospital. Once we removed the grapefruit, adjusted his meds, and monitored his blood levels, his symptoms disappeared. He later told me, I had no idea that something so small could mess me up that badly. I thought grapefruit was good for the heart. And it can be for some, but not if you're on heart medications. If you're over 60 and taking any prescription drugs for your heart, blood pressure, or cholesterol, you need to talk to your doctor or pharmacist about grapefruit. Don't assume it's safe just because it's natural. Nature can be powerful, and power, when unchecked, can be dangerous. This isn't about blaming the fruit. This is about giving your aging body the respect it deserves. After 60, your metabolism changes, your liver slows, the margin for error shrinks. That means even small choices, like a single glass of juice, can carry life threatening consequences. Grapefruit doesn't come with a warning label, but maybe it should. Now, you may be wondering, if grapefruit, of all things, can sabotage my medications, what else am I eating that might be just as dangerous or even worse? Let me take you into the next fruit, one that's sweet, familiar, and comforting, but maybe flooding your body with something even more threatening to your heart than grapefruit ever could. You might be peeling it every morning without realizing the silent storm it's causing inside you. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number one below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number two. 2. Bananas. When too much potassium becomes a danger. If you're over 60, chances are someone's told you that bananas are good for your heart. They're easy to digest, packed with potassium, and carry that comforting feeling of home. After all, what could be safer than a soft, natural fruit that's been on American breakfast tables for generations? But here's what most seniors don't realize. As your kidneys age, the same potassium that once protected your heart can quietly push it into danger, especially if you're already on medications that affect potassium balance, like ACE inhibitors, ARBs, or potassium sparing diuretics. Your body after 60 is not the same as it was at 40. Your kidneys don't clear minerals as efficiently. Your heart isn't as resilient to sudden shifts in electrolyte levels. When potassium builds up in your bloodstream, it doesn't make you feel sick, at least not right away. But deep inside, it can disrupt the electrical signals that keep your heart beating in rhythm. One minute you're feeling fine, the next, you're dizzy, weak, or lying in the ER with an irregular heartbeat, not knowing that the 3 bananas you've been eating every morning for your blood pressure are part of what brought you there. I'll never forget Mrs. Connie Harper, a sweet 76-year-old widow from Ohio. She came to my clinic after an episode that scared her to her core, a fainting spell at the grocery store. She'd felt her heart skip and flutter before, but this time was different. Her vision blurred. Her legs gave out. By the time the paramedics arrived, her heart was in ventricular arrhythmia, a life-threatening rhythm disturbance. When I sat with her days later, her voice was soft but anxious. "I don't understand, doctor. I don't eat junk. I walk every morning. I don't touch salt. I take my lisinopril every day just like I'm told. The only treat I allow myself is my bananas. 3 a day, every day, for years." What Connie didn't know, and what too many seniors don't, is that bananas, while healthy in moderation, are one of the highest potassium rich fruits. Each medium banana contains roughly 400 to 450 milligrams of potassium. That's fine for a young, healthy person. But Connie's medication was already increasing her potassium levels. Her aging kidneys couldn't clear the excess fast enough. The result? A silent buildup that finally tipped her heart into chaos. Her lab test confirmed it: hyperkalemia, high potassium in the blood. And it didn't come from supplements or junk food, it came from her healthy habit. We adjusted her medications, limited her banana intake to once or twice a week, not daily, and made sure her blood potassium levels were monitored regularly. She's doing better now, but what shook her most was how little warning she had. I thought I was doing everything right, she said. And she was, with the information she had. This is not about blaming bananas. This is about understanding that even nature's best gifts must be handled differently as we age. Your heart is more sensitive now, your kidneys more fragile. What once gave you strength can now overwhelm your system, slowly, quietly, and without pain. Potassium is essential, but in balance. And for seniors, balance isn't just about the numbers, it's about staying aware, staying informed, and not assuming that something is safe just because it's natural. If you're on heart medications, if you've had kidney trouble, or if you've noticed unusual fatigue, muscle weakness, or skipped heartbeats, don't dismiss it. Get your potassium levels checked. Talk to your doctor about your diet. And most importantly, don't fall into the trap of thinking, if a little is good, more must be better. That logic does not apply after 60. Because even the most innocent habits, a banana with breakfast, can bring your heart closer to the edge. Now, if bananas can do that, what about a fruit that's even sweeter? One that spikes your blood sugar, confuses your metabolism, and feeds inflammation in your arteries. What if that fruit comes with a tropical glow, but leaves your heart quietly struggling to keep up? Let me tell you about it next. You might be eating it for dessert tonight. 3. Mangoes, the sweet spike that confuses your heart. There's something irresistible about a ripe mango. Its golden flesh, its tropical scent, the way it melts on the tongue. It feels like summer, like youth, like comfort. For many older adults, a slice of mango is more than a treat. It's a taste of memory. But what if that very sweetness, that innocent indulgence, was silently overwhelming your heart? For seniors, especially those with diabetes, prediabetes, or heart conditions, mangoes can quietly create a cascade of reactions, ones that confuse your metabolism, spike your blood sugar, and inflame your blood vessels without you even knowing. The truth is, while mangoes contain fiber and antioxidants, they also carry a very high glycemic load, meaning they can quickly raise blood glucose levels, especially in older adults whose insulin response is already weakened. After the age of 60, your body processes sugar differently. The pancreas slows down. Insulin sensitivity drops. Your cells no longer take in sugar the way they once did, and the excess doesn't just float harmlessly in the bloodstream. It clings to the lining of your arteries. It feeds inflammation. It stiffens vessel walls. Over time, this chronic inflammation becomes the hidden foundation of heart disease. But that's not all. A sudden spike in blood sugar can also trigger a spike in blood pressure, because sugar doesn't just affect your metabolism, it disrupts the delicate balance of hormones that regulate blood flow, fluid retention, and heart rhythm. It's a domino effect. And for many older Americans, it starts with just one fruit they thought was healthy. I'll never forget Mr. Donald Mays, a 69-year-old Vietnam veteran from Florida who came to my clinic complaining of chest tightness and overwhelming fatigue. His medical history was clean: no smoking, no fried food, daily walks. He had even lost 15 pounds the past year, but his blood pressure readings were erratic, and his A1C, a marker of long-term blood sugar, had quietly crept into the diabetic range. What struck me most was how puzzled he was. "I've given up soda. I don't eat sweets anymore," he told me. "I snack on fruit now, mangoes mostly, sometimes dried, sometimes fresh. Feels good, feels clean." But when I asked him how often, his answer startled me. "Every day, Doc. 2 mangoes if they're small. They help with cravings." We ran the numbers. One average mango contains over 45 grams of sugar, more than a can of Coke. Dried mango, even worse. No fiber, no water, just concentrated fructose that absorbs straight into the bloodstream. Mr. Mays had unknowingly replaced one danger with another, and his heart was paying the price. His case wasn't unique. In fact, many seniors try to eat clean by replacing processed sweets with tropical fruits, not realizing these fruits can still wreak havoc on blood sugar and blood pressure regulation. After we cut back his mango intake and built a safer fruit plan with more berries and lower glycemic options, his energy returned and his heart symptoms faded. He told me later, "I never thought fruit could act like sugar, but I guess sugar's sugar, no matter how pretty it looks." And he was right. Because the human body doesn't care whether the sugar came from candy or a mango. It just knows it's overloaded. And the heart, fragile with age, is the first to suffer. If you've ever felt that post-meal fatigue, that heavy, slow heartbeat, or unexplained swelling in your feet or hands, look closely at the fruit on your plate. Not all fruit is friendly. Mangoes might feel wholesome, but for many hearts over 60, they're a metabolic trap, sweet on the tongue, but stressful on the arteries. Now, if a single mango can do that, what happens when you bite into something even larger, juicier, and more water-heavy? What if it floods your body with not just sugar, but potassium and fluid, forcing your heart to work overtime just to keep up? Let me take you there next. It's red, refreshing, and hiding behind picnic smiles all across America, but your heart might be gasping for help every time you eat it. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Watermelon, the red flood that overwhelms the aging heart. There's something timeless about watermelon. It's the fruit of summer picnics, childhood laughter, 4th of July memories, and backyard barbecues. A cold slice on a warm day feels innocent, hydrating, refreshing, and light. That's why so many seniors reach for it, believing it's one of the safest, heart-friendly fruits they can enjoy. But few people talk about what watermelon actually does to the aging body, and that silence, it can be dangerous, especially after 60. What many seniors don't realize is that watermelon is not just water and sweetness. It's a triple threat when consumed in excess, loaded with natural sugars, packed with potassium, and capable of shifting the body's fluid balance so rapidly that your heart and kidneys can't keep up. Let me explain. As we age, our kidneys naturally decline in function. That's part of normal aging. They don't filter waste or manage electrolytes like they used to. Now add medications like ACE inhibitors, diuretics, or beta blockers, which are commonly prescribed for blood pressure and heart failure. These meds can either raise potassium or make the body more sensitive to fluid changes. So when a large amount of watermelon enters the system, often 2 or 3 cups in a single sitting, you've just sent your cardiovascular system into a tailspin. I'll never forget Mrs. Lila Cartwright, a vibrant 81-year-old former librarian from Kansas who came to see me late one summer with swollen ankles, shortness of breath, and what she described as a heart that feels too heavy. She hadn't changed her medications. She wasn't eating processed foods or salty snacks. But when I asked about recent habits, her eyes lit up with pride. "Oh, doctor, I've been replacing dessert with watermelon. Big bowls of it morning and night. It's been so hot lately. Better than ice cream, right?" Yes, better than ice cream, but not better than moderation. Her blood work showed a borderline high potassium level. Her blood pressure, normally controlled, was running low. Her heart was struggling to maintain rhythm during physical exertion. The cause? Too much watermelon combined with reduced kidney clearance and heart medications that couldn't adjust fast enough. It wasn't a sudden failure. It was a slow, steady flood her body couldn't process. Here's the truth. 1 cup of watermelon contains over 170 milliliters of potassium and more than 9 grams of sugar. That may seem harmless, but seniors often eat multiple cups, especially when trying to hydrate during warm weather. The problem is, this overload of water and electrolytes dilutes sodium in the blood and raises the strain on the heart, which has to pump through the extra volume. The result? Shortness of breath, low energy, swelling, and, in more serious cases, fluid backing into the lungs or triggering congestive heart failure episodes, and all from a fruit no one warned you about. Mrs. Cartwright had no idea. She thought she was doing the right thing. But when you're over 60, even healthy food can hurt you if you're not matching it to your current health status. We helped her reduce her watermelon intake to 1 small cup per day, paired with better hydration and regular potassium checks. She recovered well, but I'll never forget what she told me afterward. I always thought the danger was in salty chips or sugary desserts. I didn't think something so natural could knock me off balance like that. Watermelon isn't the enemy, but your heart is not the same heart it was 20 years ago. And when your kidneys are slower, when your medications are finely tuned, and when the balance inside your body is more fragile than ever, even something wholesome can become harmful. So next time you reach for that second or third helping, pause. Ask yourself, is my heart ready for this much fluid? Is my body ready for this much sugar and potassium all at once? Because sometimes the foods that feel the most innocent are the ones that catch us off guard. And if watermelon, the symbol of health and hydration, can quietly overload your heart, then what about a fruit that's even more deceptive? Small, sweet, and packed with natural goodness, but dried, sticky, and concentrated with sugar that attacks your arteries like syrup? Let me tell you about it next. It might be hiding in your pantry right now. 5. Dried fruits. Nature's candy with a hidden cost. To many older Americans, dried fruits feel like a smart, wholesome snack. A handful of raisins instead of cookies. A few dried apricots after dinner instead of pie. They're small, natural, and easy to chew. For seniors trying to avoid junk food, dried fruit seems like the perfect middle ground, comforting yet health conscious. But here's the dangerous truth no one tells you. Dried fruit is nature's candy, concentrated, sticky, and capable of silently damaging your heart. When a fruit is dried, nearly all of the water is removed. What's left behind? A compact, calorie-dense, sugar-loaded piece of food that enters your bloodstream faster than you can imagine. Without the water and fiber to slow absorption, that natural sugar hits your system hard, spiking blood sugar, inflaming blood vessels, and flooding your heart with signals it can't always handle after 60. For seniors, especially those with diabetes, prediabetes, high blood pressure, or heart disease, these spikes can be dangerous. They don't just raise blood sugar, they lead to increased triglyceride levels, arterial stiffness, and insulin resistance, all of which contribute to a condition known as metabolic syndrome, a ticking time bomb for heart attacks and strokes. I remember one patient in particular, Mr. Samuel Reed, a 72-year-old retired postal worker from Illinois. A gentle, quiet man who came into my clinic after his second minor stroke in less than a year. He had no history of smoking, had lost weight, and was diligent about taking his medications. He thought he was doing everything right, but his blood tests showed elevated triglycerides and a fasting blood sugar well into the diabetic range. When I asked him about his diet, he proudly replied, "No junk food, doc. I don't eat cake or candy anymore. I just snack on fruit, raisins, prunes, dates. I keep them in a little tin in my truck." What he didn't realize is that a quarter cup of raisins contains nearly 30 grams of sugar, almost as much as a candy bar. A few dried figs or dates, even more. These foods, though natural, are hyper-concentrated sources of fructose, and when eaten regularly, they can push your metabolism into overdrive, especially in an aging body already under cardiovascular strain. Mr. Reed was trying to live clean, but no one had told him that sugar, whether from a candy wrapper or a raisin, still inflames the same blood vessels, stresses the same heart, and increases the same risks. We worked together to replace his dried fruits with fresh, lower sugar options: berries, a few apple slices with peanut butter, or Greek yogurt with cinnamon. Within weeks, his numbers began to stabilize, but what stuck with me most was what he said at his follow-up visit. "I thought I had given up dessert, Doc. Turns out I just traded it for a smaller version that fooled me." That's the danger with dried fruit. It wears a halo of health. It comes in small packages with labels like no added sugar or 100% natural. But for seniors, portion size means everything. Those few little bites, day after day, can silently undo all the progress you've worked so hard to make. And here's another overlooked danger. Many dried fruits are coated in syrup or preserved with sulfites, which can irritate the gut and raise blood pressure in sensitive individuals. Even those labeled unsweetened can still carry intense amounts of natural sugar packed into every chewy piece. So the next time you grab that bag of dried cranberries or trail mix, ask yourself, am I feeding my body or am I overloading it in disguise? Because even healthy food, when condensed and misused, can act like poison in an older body. And if dried fruit can cause this much damage in such a small serving, what happens when you drink the sugar of 10 fruits in a single glass, thinking it's heart smart because it came from a bottle marked 100% juice? Let me take you into that next. It's sweet, it's convenient, and it's sitting right now in thousands of refrigerators across America. But it may be the most dangerous thing you'll ever pour into a glass. 6. Bottled fruit juice. The sweet trap for your heart. There's something comforting about a glass of fruit juice. It's familiar, simple, and for many older Americans, it feels like a good choice. Better than soda, better than coffee, better than nothing. Labels like 100% juice, no added sugar, or heart healthy seem to reassure us that we're making a smart decision. But here's the truth that few seniors are ever told. That sweet sip may be quietly straining your heart more than you think. Bottled fruit juice, whether it's orange, apple, grape, or a superfruit blend, is not the same as eating whole fruit. In fact, for the aging body, it can be one of the most deceptive sources of sugar in the modern American diet. Why? Because juice strips away the very thing that slows sugar down: fiber. What you're left with is a concentrated blast of fructose that rushes into your bloodstream, spikes your blood sugar, and places your heart under sudden stress. Let's talk numbers. A single 12-ounce glass of orange juice contains about 30 grams of sugar, roughly the same as a can of soda. Grape juice? Even more. And while that sugar may come from fruit, your aging pancreas, arteries, and heart don't know the difference. Fructose is still fructose, and when it floods your system without the protective buffer of fiber, it becomes a biochemical shock. I'll never forget Mrs. Darlene Evans, a 79-year-old retired school principal from Oregon, who came to see me after a series of dizzy spells and episodes of rapid heartbeat. She was sharp, proactive, and had been managing mild hypertension and prediabetes for years with careful eating and walking 3 times a week. But lately, something had changed. Her fasting glucose was higher. Her triglycerides were rising. Her blood pressure was fluctuating wildly. I've been cutting back on sweets, she told me. I don't eat dessert. I don't drink soda. I've switched to heart healthy juices, cranberry in the morning, orange at lunch. No more coffee either. She thought she was helping her heart, but what she didn't realize was that she was pouring the equivalent of 5 to 6 teaspoons of sugar into her body every time she filled that glass. No chewing, no fiber, just liquid sugar, absorbed within minutes. What made things worse was that Mrs. Evans was also taking medications to manage her blood pressure and blood sugar. When high sugar juices are consumed regularly, they blunt insulin sensitivity, raise inflammatory markers, and can trigger sudden changes in blood pressure, especially when taken with common heart meds like beta blockers or diuretics. Her symptoms, palpitations, lightheadedness, and mental fog, weren't random. They were the direct result of her body being pushed into metabolic overload day after day, glass after glass. Once we removed bottled juice from her daily routine and replaced it with whole fruits in small portions, along with water flavored with lemon or mint, her energy returned, her heart rhythm stabilized, and her labs began to improve. I'll never forget what she said. I truly believed I was doing the right thing. No one told me juice could be so dangerous at my age. I was drinking it to stay out of the hospital, and it nearly put me in one. This is the painful reality for so many older adults. You've made sacrifices, you've given up fast food, you've cut the cookies, and you're trying to nourish your body. But the food industry doesn't warn you that the sugar in that healthy juice bottle is processed by your body the same way as soda or candy, only faster. After 60, every choice matters more. Your liver is slower, your arteries are stiffer, your heart is more vulnerable to rapid fluctuations in blood sugar and volume, and that natural sweetness in a bottle, it can quietly erode your stability one glass at a time. So if you're reaching for bottled juice each morning, thinking you're helping your heart, I urge you to pause, read the label, look at the sugar content, and ask yourself, would I eat 5 oranges in one sitting? Because that's what you're doing, without the fiber, without the balance, and without warning. And if bottled juice can do this, if something as simple and healthy as orange or cranberry juice can send your heart into overdrive, what about a fruit praised for being a miracle antioxidant, but known to interfere with blood thinners and raise your risk of internal bleeding? Let me show you what's really behind that beautiful red jewel we call the pomegranate. Because for some seniors, it's not healing, it's a hidden hazard. 7. Pomegranate, a double-edged sword for those on blood thinners. Pomegranate has long been praised as a superfruit, bursting with antioxidants, rich in vitamins, and known for its ability to support heart health. From glossy magazine articles to health food commercials, it's portrayed as a miracle in a shell. And for many seniors trying to make better dietary choices, it seems like a smart, natural alternative to processed snacks or sweets. But if you're over 60 and taking blood thinners like warfarin, Eliquis, or even a low-dose aspirin, this fruit could be silently turning your medication into a loaded weapon inside your body. The danger doesn't lie in the pomegranate itself, but in how its compounds interact with your medications, particularly with how your liver processes them. Pomegranates contain potent phytochemicals that can inhibit specific enzymes, notably CYP450, that are responsible for breaking down drugs in your liver. When these enzymes are blocked, your medications can build up in your bloodstream to unsafe levels. This means that a fruit you believed was healing could, without any warning, tip the balance in your body and make your blood too thin, increasing the risk of internal bleeding, hemorrhagic stroke, or serious bruising after even minor bumps. Let me tell you about Mr. Carl Hendricks, a 77-year-old retired Navy mechanic from Michigan. a soft-spoken man with a sharp memory and a devotion to his health. He came to see me after experiencing an alarming episode, blood in his urine and lightheadedness that almost caused him to fall in his kitchen. His INR, a measure of how long it takes his blood to clot, was dangerously high, meaning his blood was too thin. Carl was taking warfarin following a minor stroke the year before. His dosage hadn't changed. His medications were stable. But something wasn't right. As we went through his diet together, he casually mentioned that he'd recently started drinking a glass of pomegranate juice every morning after reading online that it was good for circulation. That was the missing piece. Pomegranate, when combined with blood-thinning medications like warfarin or even aspirin, can intensify their effects. In Carl's case, it pushed his body into a bleeding risk without him ever knowing. No pain, no warning, just a seemingly healthy change that nearly caused a medical emergency. We stopped the juice, monitored his INR closely, and brought his levels back into a safe range. Carl was stunned. "I thought I was doing something good for my heart," he said, shaking his head. "I never imagined a fruit could mess with my medicine like that." And that's exactly the problem. No one tells you that fruits, even healthy ones, can interact with medications just like drugs do. The liver doesn't care where the compound came from. It just processes everything through the same metabolic pathways. And when you're over 60, those pathways are slower, more sensitive, and easier to overwhelm. This is why food becomes more than just nourishment after 60. It becomes part of your medical care. What you eat either supports your medication or competes with it, and that competition can lead to tragic outcomes if not recognized early. So should seniors stop eating pomegranates altogether? Not necessarily. But if you're on blood thinners or heart medications, you must talk to your doctor or pharmacist before making it a daily habit, especially in juice or supplement form. Moderation, consistency, and medical supervision are key. Because even the most heart-healthy food, when misunderstood, can become a risk. And if a glass of antioxidant-rich pomegranate juice can quietly sabotage your medication and push your body toward bleeding. What about the fruits that seem even more harmless? Those neatly packed in cans, swimming in syrup, hiding in your pantry, ready to be eaten with a spoon. Let me show you, next, what's really inside those convenient little cans of fruit and why they could be flooding your heart and arteries with far more danger than you ever expected. 8. Canned fruits. Syrup and sodium in disguise. There's a quiet comfort in opening a can of peaches or pears. For many seniors, especially those living alone or on a fixed income, canned fruits feel like a simple, accessible way to stay healthy. They're soft, sweet, easy to digest, and often marketed as packed with vitamins or heart healthy. But what most older adults don't realize is that inside that colorful label lies something far more dangerous than meets the eye. A double dose of sugar and salt that could be quietly straining your heart. Canned fruits are often stored in heavy syrup, or even when labeled in juice, they still carry a significant amount of added sugars. A half cup of canned peaches in syrup can contain upwards of 20 grams of sugar, nearly the same as a candy bar. And that sweetness doesn't come with the natural fiber of fresh fruit to slow absorption. Instead, it enters your bloodstream rapidly, causing spikes in blood sugar, insulin, and inflammatory markers that can wear down aging arteries and increase the risk of heart failure, diabetes complications, and weight gain. But sugar isn't the only concern. What many seniors overlook is that canned fruits, and especially their juice or packing liquid, can contain added sodium or preservatives which raise blood pressure, promote fluid retention, and place extra strain on the heart and kidneys. This is particularly dangerous if you are already taking medications for hypertension or heart failure. Let me share the story of Mrs. Betty Lawson, a 75-year-old widow from rural Tennessee. She came into my clinic with persistent swelling in her legs, shortness of breath, and fatigue. Her medications were on track. She hadn't changed anything about her exercise or salt intake, at least not knowingly, but when I reviewed her food diary, I spotted something that raised a red flag. Every afternoon, she'd enjoy a bowl of canned fruit. Just peaches and pears, Doc. I keep a few cans in the pantry. It's better than cake, right? What she didn't know was that her harmless dessert was delivering a dangerous mix of sugar and hidden sodium every single day. Her kidneys, already slowed by age, couldn't eliminate the excess fluid. Her blood pressure crept upward. The swelling worsened. Her heart was working harder than ever, and she had no idea why. After switching her to no sugar-added canned fruit, draining and rinsing each can before serving, and encouraging fresh or frozen alternatives when possible, her symptoms improved dramatically. But the fear in her eyes when she realized how close she'd come to a hospital stay from a simple can of peaches, that stayed with me. "I thought I was being good," she whispered. "I didn't know fruit could turn against me like that." And that's exactly the issue. It's not the fruit, it's the form. When you're over 60, your heart, kidneys, and metabolism don't work the same way they used to. Even good intentions can backfire when they come packaged in syrup and salt. So if you're stocking your shelves with canned fruits, please read the labels. Choose options labeled packed in water or no added sugar. Rinse the fruit under water before eating to remove excess syrup or sodium. And most importantly, watch your portion size, because even natural sugars, when condensed and consumed without fiber, can quietly harm your heart over time. And if canned fruit, meant to be simple and wholesome, can push your heart toward failure. What happens when we eat too much of even the good fruits? The ones doctors tell us are heart healthy, filled with fiber, rich in nutrients? Let me take you there next, because even a good thing, when overdone, can become a silent danger in disguise. 9. Overdoing heart-healthy fruits, when good intentions go too far. We've all heard it. Eat more fruits and vegetables. For decades, this advice has been woven into every doctor's visit, every health campaign, every magazine headline, and it's good advice, until it's taken too far. Yes, fruits are packed with fiber, antioxidants, and vitamins, but when you're over 60, even the healthiest foods can cause harm if you eat too much, too often, or without balance. Your metabolism is different now. Your kidneys don't flush excess nutrients as efficiently. Your medications interact with more foods than they used to. And most importantly, your heart is more vulnerable to sudden shifts in blood sugar, potassium, and fluid levels. It's a hard truth, but one I've had to explain to many patients, including Mr. Franklin Dale, a 78-year-old retired music teacher from Pennsylvania. He came to my clinic proud, hopeful, and exhausted. After a minor heart attack, he had made a commitment to clean living. He stopped red meat, fried foods, and processed snacks. Instead, he filled his plate with kale, spinach, bananas, sweet potatoes, and beets every day in large servings. "Doctor," he said with conviction, "I live on plants now, all heart healthy. I haven't touched junk food in 6 months." But despite his efforts, he wasn't getting stronger. He was more tired. His muscles felt weak. He experienced lightheadedness and had trouble sleeping. His labs revealed elevated potassium, mild kidney strain, and fluctuating blood pressure, a dangerous combination for someone recovering from cardiac trauma. The problem wasn't that he was eating the wrong things. The problem was that he was eating too much of the right things. Fruits like bananas, oranges, beets, and even avocados are high in potassium. Normally that's good, but when combined with ACE inhibitors or potassium sparing diuretics, excess potassium can lead to hyperkalemia, a condition that can disrupt your heart's rhythm and even cause cardiac arrest in severe cases. Spinach and kale, both rich in vitamin K, are wonderful, unless you're on blood thinners. Then large and inconsistent amounts can interfere with your medication, putting you at risk for blood clots or uncontrolled bleeding. Even the natural sugars in fruits like grapes, apples, or sweet potatoes can raise blood glucose levels if not balanced with protein or fiber. And over time, elevated glucose leads to inflammation, a root cause of plaque buildup and heart disease. We worked with Mr. Dale to reduce the portion sizes, rotate his fruits and vegetables, and build his meals around moderation and variety. Within weeks, his symptoms improved, but he was shocked. "I thought more meant better," he said quietly. "No one told me I could love my heart too much." That's the lesson. Even love, even care, can go too far when it becomes unbalanced. After 60, the key isn't to eat more, it's to eat wisely. Your body needs consistency, not intensity, gentleness, not extremes, because your heart has carried you through a lifetime of stress, joy, loss, and endurance. Now, it needs you to protect it with precision, not excess. So if you've been trying your best to eat right and still feel something's off, fatigue, bloating, strange rhythms in your chest, it may not be about what you're eating, but how much and how often. Even good food, taken too far, becomes too much for an aging body to handle. And now that you know what to avoid, the question becomes even more important. What should you be eating to truly nourish your heart after 60, gently, safely, and with confidence? Let me show you next, because this is where true healing begins. 10. So, what should you eat to nourish your heart after 60? By the time you reach your 60s, your heart has already beaten more than 2 billion times. It has carried you through love and grief, through raising children, retirement parties, and long walks that became a little shorter with time. It's been your silent companion, your engine, your protector. But now, more than ever, it needs something from you in return: care, precision, and nourishment tailored to this season of life. So many older adults ask me the same question after I explain the dangers hidden even in healthy looking fruits and vegetables. "Doctor, then what can I eat?" The good news is you can still enjoy food, food that tastes good, food that fills you up, food that heals. But it needs to be chosen with your aging heart, kidneys, and metabolism in mind. Let me tell you about Mrs. Ruby Henderson, an 83-year-old retired nurse from Georgia. She came into my clinic frustrated and tired. Her blood pressure was creeping up, her energy was fading, and she had a deep desire to stay independent. "I want to stay out of the hospital, doc. I want to stay in my home," she told me. She wasn't on many medications yet, and she didn't want to be. So together we built a diet, not a diet of restriction, but of gentle, steady healing, using specific vegetables and fruits that would support her aging heart instead of stressing it. We focused on cooked, not raw vegetables that were low in sodium, low in sugar, and low in potassium, while still rich in antioxidants and fiber. Why cooked? Because cooking helps break down fibers, making digestion easier and reducing bloating, a common issue that can actually push on the diaphragm and strain the heart in older adults. Her staples became steamed green beans and broccoli, lightly seasoned with olive oil and herbs like rosemary or thyme. These are high in antioxidants and gentle on blood vessels. Roasted carrots, rich in beta carotene, a compound that helps support artery flexibility and reduce inflammation. Zucchini, sauteed with a touch of garlic. Easy to digest, hydrating, and supportive of blood pressure control. Cooked tomatoes, especially in soups or stews, for their lycopene, an antioxidant shown to help improve endothelial function, which affects how well your arteries expand and contract. Small amounts of sweet potato, not every day, but rotated in, a good source of fiber and steady energy as long as potassium levels are monitored. For fruit, we stayed low glycemic and moderate in portion. Fresh berries, like blueberries or strawberries, once or twice a week for their heart protective polyphenols. Thin slices of fresh apple or pear, eaten with meals to help stabilize blood sugar. A few cubes of melon occasionally, but not at night when digestion slows. We kept serving small, consistent, and tailored to her medication schedule, and we made hydration a priority with plain water, unsweetened herbal teas, and no bottled juices or sweetened beverages. In just 3 months, Ruby's blood pressure stabilized, her fatigue faded, and her sense of control returned. At her next appointment, she looked me in the eyes and said, "Doc, I feel like I'm finally eating for my age, for my heart, not like I used to, but better." And that's the point. After 60, you don't need more food. You need smarter food. You don't need to eat like a monk or punish yourself with bland meals. You simply need to recognize that your body is not the same as it was at 40. And that's not weakness, it's wisdom. What nourishes your heart now must be chosen with care, not just from a list of superfoods, but from your personal medical history, your medications, your lab work, and your goals. Because food isn't just fuel anymore, it's your frontline defense. So if you've been asking yourself, what can I eat that won't hurt me? The answer is whole, gentle, unprocessed foods that work with your body, not against it. But as important as food is, it's only one part of the story. Because after 60, true heart health isn't just about what you eat, it's about how you live, how you listen to your body, and how you embrace the next chapter with clarity and confidence. So let me leave you with this final thought. What does your heart still need from you to keep showing up day after day for the life you still have left to live? Let's talk about that now. One final reflection for the road ahead. Honoring your heart with every choice. As we reach our 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, it's natural to feel a mix of pride and concern. We've lived long enough to know both triumph and hardship, the joys of retirement, the loss of loved ones, and the wisdom that only time can teach. Through it all, our hearts have carried us forward. Now, more than ever, our hearts deserve our thoughtful care. This isn't about restricting joy or turning every meal into a math problem. It's about recognizing that every bite, every drink, and every habit carries weight, especially on a body that's traveled billions of beats. What nourishes us now must be selected with intent, informed by our medications, our labs, and the subtle signs our bodies share. A little fatigue, a slight shortness of breath, a tiny swell of the feet. To honor your heart is to transform your daily habits into acts of self-respect. It means choosing food that supports healthy blood pressure and circulation while staying mindful of hidden sugars, sodium, and interactions with medications. It means savoring home-cooked meals and fresh produce, using herbs and spices for flavor instead of salt, and drinking water or herbal teas instead of syrups and bottled juice. It means paying attention to portion sizes, not because quantity is bad, but because balance is everything. But food is only one part of the story. Your heart also thrives on movement, connection, and purpose. A gentle walk with a friend, a meaningful conversation with a grandchild, volunteering, or tending a small garden can be as heart healing as any diet. These simple joys nourish the spirit and, in turn, support the body in ways no supplement can match. Your heart has carried you through so much. Now it's your time to give back. Embrace the wisdom you've gained and use it to create a life that's both safe and alive. Let every meal, every movement, every moment be an act of gratitude for the life you've lived and all that still lies ahead. This journey isn't one you take alone. Share your questions with your doctor. Listen to your body and trust in the possibility that your next heartbeat can come with more energy, more peace, and more purpose than ever before. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.